Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello everybody, and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We continue with our Modern World History series by looking at the social impact of the Industrial Revolution. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. I just ask that you like and subscribe. I apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Saying words right isn't really my thing, but I do try my best. Okay, let's go. The Industrial Revolution brought rapid urbanization, or the movement of people to cities. Changes in farming, soaring population growth, and a demand for workers led masses of people to migrate from farms to cities. Almost overnight, small towns that were located around coal or iron mines grew into cities. Other cities developed around the factories in once quiet market towns. Those who benefited most from the Industrial Revolution were the entrepreneurs who set it in motion. The Industrial Revolution created this new middle class, whose members included merchants, artisans, and inventors, as well as entrepreneurs. While the wealthy and the middle class lived in pleasant neighborhoods, vast numbers of poor struggled to survive in slums. They packed into tiny rooms in tenements that had no running water and no sewage or sanitation system. Sewage rotted in the streets or was dumped into rivers, which created an overwhelming stench and contaminated drinking water. This led to the spread of diseases such as cholera. The heart of the new industrial city was the factory. Working in a factory differed greatly from working on a farm. In rural villages, people worked hard, but the work varied according to the season. Some seasons were easier than others. The factory system imposed a harsh new way of life on workers. Working hours were long, with shifts lasting from 12 to 16 hours, 6 or 7 days a week. Exhausted workers were injured by machines that had no safety devices. Working conditions in the mines were even worse than in the factories. Factories and mines also hired many boys and girls. These children often started working at age 7 or 8. A few were as young as 5. To combat the poor conditions children faced in factories, the Sadler Report was presented to Parliament. It brought to light children's working conditions and helped to pass the Factory Act of 1833, which provided more regulations. The early industrial age brought terrible hardships. In time, however, reformers pressed for laws to improve working conditions. Labor unions won the right to bargain with employers for better wages, hours, and working conditions. Despite the social problems created by the Industrial Revolution, low pay, dismal living conditions, the industrial age did have some positive effects. Wages rose. There were more job opportunities. A variety of goods were available in the marketplace for prices that more people could afford. Slowly, the standard of living rose for workers. Working-class men gained the right to vote. People had opportunities that had not been available before. The Industrial Revolution increased the chances for social mobility, or the ability of individuals or groups to move up the social scale. Many thinkers tried to understand the staggering changes taking place in the early industrial age. These thinkers looked for natural laws that governed the world of business and economics that had first been proposed by Adam Smith, author of The Wealth of Nations. Middle-class business leaders embraced the laissez-faire, or hands-off, approach, believing that a free market would eventually help everyone, not just the rich. However, one British laissez-faire economist, Thomas Malthus, felt that the population would grow faster than the food supply. As long as the population kept growing, the poor would suffer. He opposed any government help, including charity and vaccinations. He urged families to have fewer children. Another British laissez-faire economist, David Ricardo, dedicated himself to economics after studying Adam Smith. Like Malthus, Ricardo suggested that poverty would be difficult to escape. In his Iron Law of Wages, Ricardo said that wage increases would only cover the cost of basic needs. He pointed out that when families have more income, they have more children instead of increasing their standard of living. Other thinkers sought to modify laissez-faire ideas to justify some government intervention. The British philosopher and economist Jeremy Bentham advocated utilitarianism, or the idea that the goal of society should be the greatest happiness for the greatest number of citizens. Bentham's ideas influenced the British philosopher and economist John Stuart Mill. Although he strongly believed in individual freedom, Mill wanted the government to step in to improve the hard lives of the working class. To end poverty and injustice, others offered a radical solution: socialism. Under socialism, the people, as a whole rather than as individuals, would own and operate the means of production, the farms, factories, railways, and other businesses that produced and distributed goods. A number of early socialists, such as Robert Owen, established communities where all work was shared and all property was owned in common. These early socialists were called utopians. Karl Marx, a German philosopher, formulated a new theory. His theory predicted a struggle between social classes that would end in a classless society that he called communist. In a classless, communist society, the struggles of the proletariat, or working class, would end because wealth and power would be equally shared. In practice, communism later referred to a system in which a small elite controlled the economy and politics. In the 1860s, German socialists adapted Marx's beliefs to form social democracy, which called for a slow transition from capitalism to socialism. Alrighty, let's recap. The Industrial Revolution was like a chaotic party where everyone ditched the countryside to crash the cities, turning sleepy towns into urban ragers overnight. Entrepreneurs and the new middle class snagged the VIP seats while the poor squeezed into the grimiest corners, partying with sewage and disease. Factories became the DJs, blasting brutal beats of long hours and dangerous conditions, even for the kiddos. Despite the rough start, some party planners, reformers, eventually upgraded the scene with better working conditions and fatter paychecks. Meanwhile, intellectual bouncers like Adam Smith, Thomas Malthus, and Karl Marx argued over whether to let the free markets flow or bring in socialism and communism. In the end, the Industrial Revolution was a wild ride of social mayhem and economic evolution, setting the stage for the modern world. There you have it, folks. That's the social impact of the Industrial Revolution nutshelled. Thanks for stopping by Nutshelled History. Don't forget to join the party by liking and subscribing. Are you for Adam Smith or Karl Marx? Let us know in the comments down below. See you next time.